We're going to get started. Was the meeting posted?
Yes. Commission will now take up matters to do with special one-day license application for a malt beverage and wine license. Corey Belanger for Thursday, March 17th, from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. The event is St. Patrick's Day celebration to be held within an enclosed tent in front of 34 Jackson Street, the site of Major's Pub.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Corey Belanger, Major's Pub.
Okay, how many years you been doing this, Corey?
This will be our 10th year.
Okay, no
Isn't that-
problems?
Yep. None I'm aware of, Commissioner.
No, okay, music's under control?
Yep, we got a DJ, and we find that it's easier to control rather than a live band. So, yeah, we have better success with that.
Good enough. Anybody got any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good luck. So that takes care of your sound, too.
Well, let me just announce it if
You
I
want to
may.
announce the sound? Okay.
The application for a special event permit for sound amplification, Corey Belanger for Major's Pub for Thursday, March 17th, from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. Within an enclosed tent in front of the 34 Jackson Street, a sound system for band and a disc jockey.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't let us down. Next on the agenda.
Commission will now take up applications for public amusement licenses for events scheduled at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. Thomas McKay, Mill City Management, Inc. Amanda Kinney is the representative. For the show, Chris Body, for Friday, March 4th, at 8 p.m. A show, The Chorus Line, on Wednesday, March 9th, at 7:30 p.m. The show, Lisa Lampanelli, for Friday, March 25th, at 8 p.m. A show, Super Scientific Circus, for Wednesday, March 30th, from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. And last is a Beetlejuice concert or show for Thursday, March 31st, from 7 p.m. And this is a Middlesex Community College promotion.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Amanda Kinney for Thomas McKay.
Okay. Amanda, who is Chris Body?
He is a jazz trumpeter.
Oh, okay.
He played in Sting's band.
All right, okay.
Yep.
And what's the Super Scientific Circus?
That's a kid's show. It's just like schools come and they do science projects on stage.
Okay, so we're not going to blow up any buildings or anything like
No,
that?
they
Oh,
do
okay.
bubbles and gravity
Little
things.
implosion? You know? No. Okay. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good luck. What's the age on the Super Scientific Circus? What's it age appropriate for? You can go. I can go, wow. See, she knew I was a kid at heart, you know? I mean, hey, what do you want?
Watch it.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda.
Members of the Commission, Lieutenant Christopher Ryder of the Lowell Fire Prevention Office is here. He's off to offer an explanation on the fire department's requirements of certain bars and restaurants requiring to have a central alarm system.
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Lieutenant Christopher Ryder, here representing the Lowell Fire Prevention Bureau. My presence here, I guess, was requested. We're having a particular issue with one of the licensees, the liquor licenses in the city. I prepared a brief statement, or I guess not really a statement of facts, I guess, if I could give these to you guys.
Certainly.
Okay. That'll fall.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
This particular facility that is referenced here in that document, we've had some ongoing issues with this facility. They have choose to not comply with certain requests on our behalf, or in turn, they're forced to. They have an outstanding balance with the city in regards to fire watches that were allowed to try to come to a compromise with this facility, and then they still have the outstanding balance and choose to comply. They refuse to accept certified letters and such on behalf of the fire department. So we were just called here, my presence is asked to explain that circumstance to you guys and to answer any questions that you guys may have.
This thing, to me, looks, the answer to this is real simple. We just make a motion to get them in here, which I'll move to make a motion to inform them that their license can be suspended or revoked. You know, I can't even imagine that, okay? I mean, I understand, how do you, what my question really would be, how do you know, like, they go offline, that they're not on?
Well, that's one of the underlying problems, is the fact that when we force their hand to comply, there may be some period of time without an inspection. We try to do spot inspections, as you'll see notated there, but our manpower, we're just understaffed.
No problem at all.
So if we had to do that to every facility in the city,
Right.
you know what I mean? So by chance, if myself or one of the other inspectors in the office goes by and sees a problem, we try to follow up with a number of phone calls, and then if those don't work, certified letters, requests for meetings, things like that. And for the most part, this facility has choose to ignore those requests.
Well, you certainly, you certainly have given them more than, the problem with this, Lieutenant, always is, and it's the same with the police department. It's unfortunate that many times people interpret the fire department trying to help you, or the police department trying to help you, as a sign of weakness, rather than saying, they're really there trying to help me. Oh, no, they wouldn't do anything, And what happens eventually, of course, somebody gets hurt, and then everybody says, well, hey, what happened? How come? To me, the safety of the people in the city of Lowell is that's a building that's got buildings on all sides of it, really. And, it's like one of those block fires. If it catches, it'd probably take the whole strip that's there before you could do anything.
Yes.
There's absolutely no excuse for not, borrow the money, steal the money, get it from somebody, but you gotta have fire safety.
I understand.
You gotta protect the people, the public. So you can rest assured, if we have to give him his legal rights as far as notification, as what, 14 days, Ryan? That you have to give him?
In this situation, it could be 10 days. Within 10 days would be sufficient.
Okay, because I feel myself personally that this is more of a, not just a violation, but it's a hazard to the public. It's a safety hazard. A safety, they'd be at you. If somebody got hurt down there, they'd be at the fire department. They'd certainly be in here at the licensing saying, oh, you let him operate and you knew we didn't have, no, that's not gonna happen, trust me. I would like, Ryan, if you didn't mind, if you'd send the lieutenant a copy of the letter whenever this gentleman's going to appear, so we might have somebody from the fire department here when the owner of the business comes in, if that's okay. Would that be all right?
By all means, but you just made the motion. I'm not sure
Oh,
what
yeah, no.
other members of the commission are.
Yeah, no, I'm listening. Second.
I mean, am I right in reading this, that it looks like on four different spot inspections over less than 6 months?
Yeah, I've been involved
They've
with
had to
this
be shut
particular.
because they don't have any kind of fire protection in place?
Yeah, that's true. They do have fire protection in place. Sometimes it's deficient. We will force them to bring it up. And in turn, it gets lax again. You know what I mean? They're required by law to have monitoring on their system. Anybody with a sprinkler system like that, the occupancy that they have is required to have it monitored. And then they choose to let that type of monitoring get lax. So then there's no automatic fire department notification. We will put them on notice when we are notified, but the only time we find that out is either a spot check, which is done randomly, or if somebody notifies us. So there could be at any given time an unprotected facility. So you know what I mean? So that's where the problem lies.
This monitoring system is, they contract for that, and
They do, and they're
Getting
required to pay
lax.
for that. And my understanding is that they've been lax in regards to paying for that. So that's why the
been getting turned off.
protection.
Still
Okay.
get city money.
Where we can't revoke their license because of due process issues, are they closed down? Have you shut them down?
We have shut them down. If you look on that document I handed you, they have been shut down on several occasions for the weekend. One of the efforts that, on behalf of the fire department, to try to come to a compromise with this facility is allowing them to hire a particular individual, somebody trained in operation of a fire alarm system, to act as their automatic notification. We have done so in the past, and in turn, the bills haven't been paid with the city. So in turn now, we do not allow them to do so, and on several occasions, they've tried to, attempt to hire, say, a fire watch, but we do not allow them to do so because they have an outstanding balance which they refuse to pay.
What do we do with the interim?
That's what I mean, if they have something tonight,
Yeah.
and there's a fire there.
Exactly.
I mean, they shouldn't be having anything, but we can't just revoke their license, right, without
We
any.
can suspend it, though, for.
No,
Well, they're only open, from my understanding, they're only open a couple of nights a week. And they usually come to us at like the witching hour, you know what I mean? An hour before
yeah.
they expect to open and say, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? Rather than answer our calls and answer our letters in typical fashion.
But God forbid we have anything happen to them.
Brian,
That's my issue,
let me
is
ask,
that,
are they closed right now? I mean, has the fire department told them you're not allowed to open until this is up and running?
No, they're not, because they were current as of, I think
I
it
mean,
was the.
I'm looking in the one on the
weekend
as of
after the
January
15th.
15th, they were not.
The weekend after the 15th, they were correct. They had the system up and running, fully functioning, with monitoring as of, I think it was the 16th of January of this year. But nobody's been back since. If they're not open during regular business hours, then we don't have access to the facility because we work regular business hours in my division. So we can go by and look and see if the system appears to be operating normally, but we can't assure that. So unless there are nighttime spot checks, which we do not do, we don't know, you know what I mean? So they very well could be operating deficiently, or they may be fully functioning, but we wouldn't know that until we had the opportunity to test the system.
So we're kind of in a limbo. We don't know what's going on there. We just know they have a history of not having
Correct.
compliance.
Correct.
When they've been checked.
Correct.
And they might be in compliance, they might not now.
Correct,
but
they may be fully
nobody
compliant
can
as
get
of this
in and check.
afternoon. Right.
but I guess my concern is, we really can't do anything to them as.
Yeah.
And if there's a fire there tonight, they're gonna come to us and say that they still had a license, and, we couldn't do anything about it, so I hate to put it on the fire department, or the building department, whoever it is, but someone's gotta check up on them.
Can I just, for purposes of my understanding, in terms of any possible future communications, not only to a particular licensee, but to the licensees in general, what requires them to be tied into the central alarm system?
Well, several fire prevention codes in the state and laws state that their level of occupancy, the occupancy permit that they're allowed, requires, a sprinkler system, a fire alarm system, and to have that constantly monitored, even if it's outside the premise, you know what I mean? So either a dialer or a radio box, communication box, or something directly to the 911 center here in the city. So they are required to maintain that, and they've been made aware of that on several occasions.
Now, in the city of Lowell, the city has 65 licensed restaurants that serve and sell all alcoholic beverages. Are all of them required to be tied in?
Only those that have an occupancy of greater than 100. Right. Under the new building codes that are being implemented now, it could be lower, but we're working to get that process squared away right now.
And with those other establishments, have you had any issues with them? Or is this the problem, this establishment?
On the rare occasion,
But this establishment.
but this particular facility, yes, we've had several problems with, yes. And we have a lengthy file that goes back long before the
Okay,
dates
if you
on
walk,
this.
and I'm kind of in the corner here with Brian, I'm saying, let's ask ourselves a question. If you went in there tonight and you had 150 people, and his occupancy is only like 100,
Yes,
can you close the place down?
yes.
You
The
can.
fire department can, within their rights, close that
Okay.
place down, yes. But they do have an occupancy allows greater than 100.
I understand that, but I guess I'm having if you can close them down because they have too many people in the building, then can't you close them down for not having the appropriate fire protection?
Yes, we can, and we have
Okay.
done so in the
Is
past.
there a way that, until we resolve this issue, I mean, I gather this gentleman doesn't realize the severity of what he's doing.
Well, I'm
Is there a way we can
speculating that he
resolve
might.
the issue of this temporarily? Because I think what Brian is saying is a very valid point.
Well, if I showed up there, Mr. Commissioner, tomorrow, and the system was fully functioning, then they're within their rights, operating under their license to do so. But if I show up there tomorrow and the system isn't operating properly, then I am within my rights to shut that facility down. So, I mean, I don't know as of today, the state of the system. That's where like I said, the problem
Yeah.
is.
But we know that between July and January, they've been bouncing back and forth between in and out of
Correct. That is
compliance.
correct. That is correct.
I wish we had a lawyer, somebody telling, I mean, where does the liability, does the liability lie with the city? Well, of course it would, because all the agencies are the city agencies.
As of the last inspection, they were in compliance, you said, as of January 16th?
The weekend after that last violation was issued, they had brought their system up to compliance.
Okay.
So it may very well be in compliance today.
We don't know if it is because you can't get in there to inspect.
That's correct.
So for the last month, I'm not putting this on you, because you guys say you work not regular hours, but you know who the owner of the establishment is.
Yes,
So
I do.
you haven't been able to contact him and say, can you meet me here at 2 o'clock one afternoon? Because it's been over a month.
Well, the last time we were there, we met with the owner or one of his representatives and tested the system to see if it was operating
Yeah.
properly, and it was.
Okay.
Okay, but that's where the problem lies, is that, if you notice on the dates in the past, without a spot check, without regular checkup,
Yeah.
which we aren't able to do for the rest of the other 65 licensees in the city,
Right.
We don't know if it's being maintained. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, it just seems to me that if you're having that much of an issue with them, and now it's been a month since the last time they've been checked, it just.
I mean, we may very well be able to get over there and check tomorrow,
Yeah.
but if we're unable to gain access to the facility, from 9 to 5, it's hit or miss, you know what I mean? And then when we do call these people, these particular individuals, for the most part, they're unavailable.
Now, how about, is there a way to get access through the landlord or the owner of the building?
There may be, yeah. I'm not exactly sure of our rights.
That I know,
But I mean,
the estate.
the estate is,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I guess your motion is to bring them in on March 10th, correct?
Well,
Yeah.
is there a motion?
Yeah, I made it.
The March 10th?
And notify them
And
that they could have suspend their license, definitely.
Well,
There's no question in my mind whatsoever that unless they resolve this issue, I want to put them on notice that I mean, at least it's, my own personal feeling, I don't care who it is, I'll put them on notice that this isn't gonna be tolerated, period, end of statement. And the next time that this thing happens, we're gonna be moving for a much harsher position than just having them come in here.
I mean, this is 4 different spot inspections
Yeah,
where it
and they
wasn't
walk
working.
in and it's not,
I mean, and 4 in 6 months is,
so if their payments to the, whether it be Verizon or some other telecommunications company, if they're not making their monthly payments, they could be offline. Is that the idea?
Exactly, yes. My understanding of the system there, they utilize what's called a dial-up system. An activation comes in, a smoke detector, a pole station, a sprinkler head. It sends a signal to the alarm panel. In turn, the alarm panel dials a direct line to a monitoring company, an outside source. That, in turn, that monitoring company notifies the fire department that some type of activation has occurred at that.
kind of the same way as if you had a home security system.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, yes.
So it's the same thing, but they have to have this because they're. having
Required
more
to
than
by
100
law,
people.
correct.
The monitoring company is not responsible, like if they don't get paid or they go offline, of notifying the fire department that,
No, they're not. They often do, but with this facility, they're not cracking, you know what I mean? They don't do it the next day, they don't do it the next week, and we may or may not get notification, and the facility is opening continually throughout the year, on the weekends. So, like I said, we're limited to our capabilities. And like I said, we've allowed them in the past to replace their monitoring with a
human
with a
being.
particular,
Yeah.
exactly, and then they refuse to pay that
they're-
bill, so.
yeah, then they refuse to pay. Okay, but we can
I'll second
resolve
the
that too.
Yeah,
Okay, motion made and seconded, all in favor say yes?
yes.
Okay?
All right.
We'll see them in here.
Thanks, guys.
Hopefully you'll be able to come back.
Either you or somebody else on March 10th as well?
Exactly. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Next on the agenda.
That's crazy.
Commission will open a hearing on an application for transfer of the all alcoholic beverages package store license to Kajal Corp., doing business as Highland Liquors, Meena Patel, President, from the licensee known as PNC Liquors, Inc., DBA Conlon's Liquors, Caesar P. Correa, Manager, premises at 12 Bridge Street, also a side number to door at 159, 161 Page Street. This is a first-floor retail store, one room, walk-in cooler, a storeroom, an office. The seller offers 2 storage rooms.
Joe Devlin from the Demarcus Law Office in Lynn, Massachusetts. I'm obviously not Meena Patel, but, which is what I thought was exactly gonna happen, the minute we get called, they're out in the hallway.
Yeah.
Do you wanna call the next, or do you
Is
want
that
me?
them right there?
Yes.
Okay.
Meena, come on up. With me is Meena Patel, who is the president and all the officers and director and the proposed manager of record. Mr. Chairman, I want to say it wasn't until I walked in here and saw your smiling face and heard your voice that I remembered the times that I've sat here or up here and heard the commission's position on pledges of licenses. I do a lot of work across the state, and sometimes it becomes autopilot. And I saw alone in reviewing this, it's certainly not that I don't understand the the commission, and whatever the commission's pleasure is with that, that's not we've dealt with Rockland Trust before, and we should be able to navigate around that. My apologies.
Okay. You want to change the name of the Conlons to Highland?
Transfer from PNC to.
Yeah, transfer, basically changing the name,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
My question is, where is Conlon's Liquor Store right now? It's closed. The store on Bridge Street's closed.
We were on the understanding that it was still open.
Is it open or closed?
We're not the current owners, so that part I don't think Meena knows either, but we were under the impression that it was still open.
Well, it seems to me that the last time I went by there, it seemed like it was closed. Now, maybe it's not, okay? So we'll go from the step. If you don't own it, then how are you changing the name?
They're buying it.
They're buying it. Okay, they're buying it.
Yeah.
Right, this is an application for a transfer of the license from the current holder to Kajal Corp. Based on the asset purchase agreement. We're also applying to change the DBA, so when we own it, we'll change, or when Ms. Patel owns it, she'll change, the DBA will be changed to Highlands Liquors.
Okay. You can change the name before you own it?
Well, once it's transferred, they can change the name, yeah. And it's just a doing business as name.
Right.
Right. Yeah, you can just get
But
the
he hasn't
certificate.
bought the business yet, so he doesn't own it.
Just by way of background, could you give us some information on
To me.
Ms. Patel's history with
Certainly.
Buying a business.
buying and selling alcohol?
Change the name.
It's a family business, brothers, uncles,
They
brother-in-laws,
just want- when they
father,
transfer, they're gonna
have always owned it, been in the retail convenience store business or the package store business. She has worked at a store in Groveland that held a wine and malt license, a store in Haverhill, the Richdale's on White Street, 73 White Street, I believe, that also has a wine and malt license. She worked at a convenience store in Bradford. I'm not sure, did that have a wine and malt license?
Yeah.
That had a wine and malt license as well. She does have children, so she's, the unemployed on her application is more that she's been home with her children.
I would tell you, I would not say being a stay-at-home parent is
Exactly.
unemployed. I mean, you might get lynched by a few people watching this today if you were to say that. So,
And her husband previously in Pennsylvania was a Dunkin' Donuts franchisee, so they have experience in that end of the retail business as well. Her brother-in-law is owner of a liquor store in Lowell called Ramos Liquors. They've been looking around for a place. He has told them that Lowell is a good place to do business. They found this business opportunity to purchase this business.
okay. So now, is there going to be any change to the way that the current business operates?
It's going to be open. You know, essentially, no.
Okay,
You know,
so he's not buying that.
it's distressing a little bit to hear that it's not open at this time, but no.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, or?
No, my legal counsel was explaining to me about how he can change the name and not own the business.
Well, it's at the same time as the purchase.
I
But yeah.
understand that, but, you know, when he first said that, I couldn't comprehend how you're gonna, okay, so you're gonna open the store down there as Highland Liquors,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
On Bridge Street, okay. I don't have a problem with that if that's what you're going to do. Well, you know,
In any of the places that you've operated
I never
or
said
under
I was
a
the sharpest
package
knife
store
in the drawer,
license,
you know.
have you ever had any violations for sale to anybody underage?
Oh, no, underage not.
Okay.
He's like 21, then I sell it.
I'm sorry. Okay,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah,
what?
he's
As long
20
as you've been working, have you ever had a violation? Have you ever worked at the store when you had a violation?
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
Right, in other words, have you been in a store where they've sold to them?
no.
How many employees do you plan to have?
What is it, how many?
Employees, yeah.
Oh, employees, like 3 or 4,
And how are you gonna train them?
or train. It's like, how about like looking for a ID post?
Okay, are you gonna have them take a course? Are you gonna have someone come in? Are you yourself gonna train them? Are they gonna be tip certified? I'm trying to, you know, what procedures do you have in place to make sure that, because where the store known as Conlon Liquors is right now is very close to Lowell High School. It's very close to University. It's close to the couple, you know, elementary, middle school. So, you know, if you get the reputation of selling to minors, it's gonna spread quick. So what procedures do you have in place to prevent that from happening?
They'll have all the employees tip certified, and you can make that a conditional, a granting of the license if you would like, or tips, or there's a safe ID check that's
Yeah.
run by a former investigator at the ABCC, and he'll come to the location, so it's a little easier than tips.
No, yeah, John Staples or whatever he does, that's fine.
Yeah,
I just wanna know what you, and that's fine. If you're assuring us that you're gonna do that, I just, you know, we typically don't make that a requirement of the license.
No.
But that location that you're buying is right in the middle of a young population, so you just have to be ever vigilant in that area.
You're okay, you'll have them trained, or you'll have
Yeah, I
Jim
have to
Staples come
train,
by.
yeah.
We'll have Jim Staples.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's pretty thorough.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
No? I think you did a good job.
I mean, I like that you're making an investment in the city. You know, really, that's the only, full-service package store in the downtown area, and as the downtown grows and there's more residents moving in, I think there's a need for it. So I hope you make a lot of money and run a good establishment. So
One of the oldest stores, isn't it, in the city? Isn't that one of the oldest package stores in the city, Conlon's?
Certainly as far as
That
its
location,
location is
yeah.
concerned, certainly.
So, I mean, it was my inclination to approve the transfer.
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say yes.
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 And the change of the DBA?
Well, I'm sure, as you all know, we need to get the ABC approval on the transfer, of course, and then registering the DBA could probably follow suit with the city clerk's office.
But the ABC, I still need a hearing decision that it's okay to change the DBA pending ABCC approval.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem either.
All right, I'll make a motion to
It-
allow.
It's not, I don't think it's necessary, but
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not necessary, it's not necessary, but if it is, then I
Yeah.
second the motion.
All right.
The question is, Attorney, if you have, are you prepared to file with the city clerk's office the DBA this afternoon? Or let's say within the next several days?
We can't change the DBA until the ABCC approves the change of DBA and also until we own that license.
Okay, so here's the scenario, as I understand it, and I'm sure you're gonna tell me one way or the other if it is true or not, but the ABC will receive this application, a copy of which will be forwarded to them tomorrow. They will do due diligence on this application, as we well know, how they handle these paperwork now. If they want a copy of a business certificate, you'll be the first to know.
Absolutely.
And if you want to file that certificate with the city clerk, in doing so, just forward me a copy of it. And I don't think the commission has just indicated they have no problem with that.
We'll do it, absolutely. I just am under the understanding that we actually need a vote on that from the local licensing authority before it goes up to the ABCC.
If you need a vote, I'll make the motion to just go ahead and say yes.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Do I push my luck on the pledge?
Huh?
Do I push my luck on the pledge?
No, that's not gonna happen. No, that's not gonna happen. And you've gotta make sure they understand the environment that they're getting themselves into, okay?
I will.
I mean, I didn't mean to, give you, I got a little confused here. You're changing the name of something before you actually own it. That being set aside,
Change it until they own it.
what Commissioner Occasion was saying is, the problem with where package stores get in trouble is, and folks don't understand, is that these kids are so technology advanced. I mean, they can reproduce a driver's license, and if these people are not on their toes, I mean, we've tried at times to tell people, once you get a reputation for selling, you're gone. You might as well lock the door up and go, because it spreads like wildfire. The kids at Lowell High, Monday morning, are telling everybody, you go in the store, there was a lady working, she had a black sweater on, she was about 5 foot, 4'10", and they know the whole routine. I mean, the whole routine, just exactly how to go about it. And unfortunately, it's almost virtually impossible to stop. So the point he's making is extremely important. It's just, and we know that people don't do this on purpose. Sometimes they just get too lax, they get too friendly with their customers, or they get fooled because they don't pursue it. For one case of beer, or one six-pack, or one bottle, it's not worth losing your liquor license. Okay?
All right,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
I couldn't understand how you can do that. How can you change the name? You haven't bought the business yet. I was gonna change his name to, I haven't even adopted him yet. Next on the agenda.
Commission will now open the matter to do with an application for a secondhand motor vehicles license, used car dealer, Class 2. An application filed on behalf of Lowell Auto Service and Sales, Inc., Michael S. Shack, President, for premises at 263 Appleton Street. Presently, the licensee is known as Lewis Garage and Auto Sales, Inc. Elias Tripodis is the president. At that same number to address, it's for an open lot specifically to do with the sale of secondhand motor vehicles, which Lewis Garage presently holds for 3,300 square feet, and an office consisting of 132 square feet. There is a maximum number of motor vehicles for sale and storage for secondhand motor vehicles is 5, and there are to be no junk vehicles, parts thereof, or string lights or banners. Just for the sake of the commission's understanding on this matter, in 1978, Mr. Elias Tripodis applied through the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit for the use of that location to sell secondhand motor vehicles. And as a part of the business, at that time, I believe it may have been not only auto body, auto repair, I should say, and gas station, but also as a sideline to offer vehicles, and in which the zoning board had granted a special permit and restricted it to not more than 5 vehicles. I have record of that with the application that was filed by Mr. Tripodis in 1978.
We don't throw anything away.
So, that
So I've
being a
learned.
brief history of the matter,
A brief history. So introduce yourself for the record.
Okay, good afternoon. Attorney James Flood on behalf of the applicant, Lowell Auto Service and Sales, Inc. I'm here with the president of that corporation, Michael Ishak.
Michael Ishak.
So tell us, are you buying the business from,
Yes, sir.
Yes, my clients are buying a business. It's been, as Ryan has said, it's been in operation since 1978. They have no plans to change the nature of the business. They're going to service cars and sell at a maximum 5 vehicles, in accord with the conditions on the current license.
and this is the place just geographically referenced. This is just behind the Appleton Professional Building, right off the Lord Overpass?
Yeah, I'd say that's about right.
Yeah, just up from the Owl Diner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been in this type of business before?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Whereabouts?
I worked at Lowell Automatic before.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And are you familiar with all of the Registry of Motor Vehicles rules on the transfers?
Most of it so far, yes.
And the record keeping is very important, because
sir.
we've had people brought in before us because we get the notice from the RMV that they're not keeping the records.
We will do everything the
Okay.
way it's supposed to be.
And has your attorney gone over everything with you?
Pardon?
I think you have to answer that question.
And the only other thing is, I know that, again, Appleton Street is a main thoroughfare in the city, and a lot of people come in and out of the city using that road, and the owner now of that establishment and that premises keeps it in tip-top shape, and
We
it
will
looks
do the
good
same.
to the people driving by, so just keep that in mind, you know, that's,
We're gonna try to do better, actually, we're gonna try.
okay,
We have-
great.
Okay.
Yeah, especially because I
Are you
think
gonna-
we're building a courthouse up there in about well, last year, if the money ever get approved.
These
So,
are gonna be the 5 cars right here, right? And the garages are back over here. So you're gonna be repairing cars besides, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You're gonna be pumping gasoline?
No gasoline.
no
Actually,
gas on
The
the
tanks
state.
were already removed too.
They have been?
Yes.
Okay. No, I don't have a problem.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say yes.
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 All right, good luck to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, thank you.
The last item on the agenda is to do with a discussion, if the commission so inclined, on the matter of a written communication that the office had received from an unnamed source, which identified a particular licensed all-alcoholic beverage club licensee, and the issue was to do with specifically to do with a poker machine, and it's alleged illegal use.
Okay, did the fellow commissioners get copies of the letter? All right, I had spoke to the secretary of the board in regards to the letter. It came unsigned, and so I decided, oh, there it is. I decided after talking to the secretary that I would take a ride over to try to straighten this thing out. I do realize the lady had that it was an unsigned letter, and so I thought we would take this opportunity for a moment to make sure we explain to everybody how this works. Can the commission on the value of an unsigned letter believe that you were paying off on a poker machine? Most certainly we can. We don't need a signed letter. We know that people, unfortunately, are afraid of retribution, and therefore they wouldn't sign the letter. The particular club that I stopped at I had a kind of a conversation. At first, I think they didn't truly understand where I was coming from. And so I think this is something that maybe a lot of clubs, any club, whether it's a veterans organization, a private club, any club, it doesn't matter if the person's a member or not. You can throw them out and you can bar them from the club. One of the bartenders at this particular club said, well, we have one that comes in every Friday, gets drunk, goes home, and his wife's calling me. Well, let his wife call me, and we'll find out why you're sending him home drunk, because you can't serve somebody until they're drunk, okay? So I thought after a while that maybe it would be wise to talk about a couple of these things to make sure everybody understands that part of it. A private club, you have certain privileges. Along with those privileges, you have severe responsibilities, especially to the public and especially to your members. Veterans organizations, there's nothing in the world more that upsets me than seeing a drunk veteran or seeing one of these bums hanging out at a bar discussing about his war record in World War II, slobbering over the bar. That's exactly what Joe Public wants. He wants to, that's an image that's been created, and there's many, many veterans out there, many more, trying to stop that image and trying to make people understand that, you know, veterans aren't people that just sit at bars. Most of them that I know of go out of their way to try to help people and try to better things. So based on that fact, I thought this would be a very good time to make sure that we clear the air on clubs and organizations. You should maintain a list of troublemakers. If a man or a woman comes into your bar and causes you problems, you should put their name on a piece of paper and bar them from the club. It's up to you. You can bar them for life. You can say, you're not welcome here for the next 30 days. Get out. Think about it. But if you can't control your environment and people have to write this board a letter saying, my husband lost his entire salary on some poker machine, something's wrong. And don't tell me you don't know he's doing it, because he's walking up every 20 minutes saying, give me another roll of quarters, give me another roll of quarters, give me another roll of quarters. So we aren't as, you know, I am not the picture child for stupid. I know how some of these things work. I've been around the block a couple of times. So I wanted to make sure that that word goes out. You lose those poker machines, you get caught paying off, you're going to lose them. It's that simple. So while we're on that subject, along came a question of responsibility. If you are an officer or a director of a nonprofit organization, a club in the city of Lowell, that club has to report to this board its financial status. The report has to be in by March 1st or March 30th?
We have to,
March 31st.
We have to,
our report's due to the ABCC by April 1st, so it's due to us before then, right?
Well, it's April 1st,
Right.
it's the same report, and what it is by definition, what in Mass General Law, Chapter 138 is saying, that the club licensees, that is a club being a members club, who can allow not only for members, but allow for their guests of the members, it is that they have to file a report listing their officers and their place of residence, but also only those people that are listed or who are hired to sell or serve alcohol beverages and what their compensation is for that purpose. It doesn't require that there be any other financial information submitted to the local licensing board or to the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission. Now, whether there is any state law, be that through the Department of Revenue or through the Attorney General's office or through the Secretary of State's office under the Corporations Division on some financial information, I'm not aware of that.
yeah, and all I'm looking for is to cover the lawyer. If you're compensated by the organization, you need to file that form. And the club manager or the manager of record, the quartermaster, the treasurer, whatever it is responsible for filling that out. So that's another one of those things that, we might have been lax in the past. We might not have enforced, but there's a new sheriff in town. And, I don't say this. Sometimes we sit here and we think, here's another thing we're going to dump on the secretary. We're not going to dump this on the secretary. It's your responsibility. It's your club. Having a license for a private club is a privilege. It's a privilege the city affords you. And so you have responsibilities, again, to fulfill that document, fill out the salaries or whatever they're compensated at, and get it in. It should be to us, I would say, March 15th. Was that a good date? So that
Well,
Ryan has to forward it to Boston April 1st.
I think if you want to think about what sometimes one of the solicitors has commented about not superseding the state law,
Yeah.
in which I think it is by definition, just that, for that purpose alone, I've had very good luck with dealing with the club licensees on their filings and
Good.
reports. Thus far, I'm showing we have at least 12 reports filed, and there are 21 club licensees in the city. So I have those that are presently on file for this current year. I can certainly will forward you with copies of what I have by tomorrow.
I'll just say, my perspective on it is, if the law requires that we report by April 1st, then we send forward what we have, and anybody who hasn't gotten their stuff in needs to be at the next meeting to surrender their license.
Right. And the
I mean,
thing,
that's very simple. And if they're not getting the reports, if it's due in from us,
well,
we'll turn it in.
If I may just
we don't have
interject there, Commissioner Weicker, is that when I mail out the notice, which I did do in third week in January to the club licensees on this, they get a copy of the form that's addressed not only to the Lowell License Commission, but also to the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission. So they're doing a duplicate form, one mailed directly to this office, to the office here at City Hall, as well as one mailed to the office of the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission. I have never received a complaint from the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission that the club licensees are not filing their annual reports. But if that ever came to my attention, it certainly would be the first thing I would bring to the board's attention.
I have nothing to add.
Anything?
No, nothing.
Anything you want to bring up, Mr. Secretary?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
You sure you don't want to take them up on that adoption offer?
Take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We're coming home, Benjamin.